For decades, the brightest minds in American science have scanned the endless cosmos. We built massive radio telescopes across our deserts to broadcast our existence outward. The scientific community remains entirely obsessed with establishing contact with highly advanced civilizations. But what if our desperate pursuit to find cosmic neighbors is a catastrophic miscalculation? This relentless search might not be the glorious journey of discovery we imagine. Broadcasting our exact location into the silent darkness could be humanity's greatest mistake. The terrifying truth is that some cosmic doors should simply never be opened. The scorching sun beats down on the Mojave Desert, where 45-year-old Dr. Sarah Jenkins stands before a monument to human ambition. As the brilliant CEO of a heavily backed aerospace startup, she embodies the relentless spirit of Silicon Valley. She is not just a scientist, but a visionary entrepreneur navigating a cutthroat ecosystem where you either change the world or file for bankruptcy. Towering above the arid landscape is her life's work, the beacon of humanity. It is a state-of-the-art optical transmitter designed to pierce the cosmic veil and announce our existence to the stars. In less than an hour, she plans to activate this massive laser array to beam a data packet containing human DNA and our galactic coordinates into deep space. For Sarah and her team of overworked engineers, this launch is the ultimate romantic gesture of our civilization. It represents the peak of American individualism, a bold declaration that we are no longer confined to our pale blue dot. Inside the climate-controlled VIP pavilion, venture capitalists from Palo Alto are sipping champagne while waiting for the spectacle. They are not merely interested in the philosophical implications of extraterrestrial contact. They are looking for market dominance, and a successful launch today guarantees Sarah a massive billion-dollar funding round. She feels the staggering weight of human history and corporate expectations resting firmly on her shoulders. She looks up at the sky, imagining a universe teeming with benevolent life forms just waiting for an invitation to connect. Our culture has spent decades nurturing this delusion through blockbuster movies and science fiction novels. We desperately want to believe that any civilization capable of building advanced technology must also possess boundless wisdom and infinite compassion. Sarah envisions our signal being intercepted by enlightened beings who will share their technological golden age with us. She views the infinite expanse above her as a friendly neighborhood, where humanity is just the newest resident, eager to introduce ourselves. Her entire business model and personal legacy are built upon the assumption that the galaxy is fundamentally a safe place for exploration. Why would we ever doubt that our brilliant ingenuity deserves a grand audience on the universal stage? But here is where it gets interesting. Let us imagine a completely different scenario that strips away this naive optimism and exposes the terrifying reality of our actions. What happens the millisecond Sarah presses that activation button and sends our genetic blueprint into the void? The concentrated pulse of light will leave our solar system and travel outward at unimaginable speeds through the dark expanse. It will carry our most intimate secrets past dead planets, swirling nebulas, and ancient star systems that have existed for billions of years. What if this brilliant beam of hope does not find the peaceful cosmic brothers she so desperately wants to believe in? Let us track the journey of this incredibly naive transmission as it leaves the safety of our fragile atmosphere. It shoots past the moon, beyond the asteroid belt, and escapes the protective magnetic bubble of our sun within hours. By the time the wealthy investors finish their champagne and head home, the signal is already completely unreachable and entirely irreversible. It becomes a permanent ghost in the cosmic machine, traveling blindly through regions where entire planetary systems have died in violent explosions. We are throwing a tiny message in a bottle into an impossibly vast ocean, hoping whoever finds it shares our exact definition of morality. We constantly project our own romantic ideals onto an ancient universe that owes us absolutely nothing. We assume that because we have survived our own brief history, the rest of the cosmos operates on similar moral principles. Sarah stands confidently in the desert wind, genuinely convinced she is the brilliant architect of a beautiful new era for all of humankind. She is completely blinded by the intoxicating thrill of scientific discovery and the desperate pursuit of historic venture capital. She fails to realize that the universe does not operate on Silicon Valley optimism or quarterly earnings reports. Are we truly prepared to face the consequences of ringing a cosmic doorbell when we cannot possibly know who is listening inside the house? The tragedy of our species might not be a lack of technological advancement, but rather an abundance of misplaced trust. We are a young and arrogant civilization, aggressively broadcasting our exact location into a dark forest without understanding the rules of survival. Every calculation in Sarah's pitch deck ignores the fundamental law of nature. What if the profound silence of the night sky is not a symptom of emptiness, but a deliberate strategy for survival? She is about to hand over the keys to our planet in exchange for a fleeting moment of historical glory. Let us zoom out from those ambitious American desert launch pads and look at the terrifying macroscopic scale of our reality. We know that the observable universe spans a mind-bending 93 billion light-years across the dark void. We know that this cold cosmic arena has existed for roughly 13.8 billion long years. We know that there are hundreds of billions of swirling galaxies churning continuously in this unimaginable expanse. Inside our own Milky Way galaxy alone, astronomers confidently estimate there are between 100 and 400 billion shimmering stars burning brightly. Now consider exactly how many of those ancient stars hold planetary systems fundamentally similar to our own solar neighborhood. Statistical models dictate that tens of billions of Earth-like planets orbit safely within their respective habitable Goldilocks zones right now. These are rocky terrestrial worlds where liquid water can pool endlessly and chemical soups can eventually spark complex biological life. Furthermore, you must acknowledge that many of these promising star systems are billions of years older than our sun. If life is a natural cosmic progression, millions of incredibly advanced extraterrestrial civilizations should have already risen and successfully conquered their skies. This undeniable mathematical probability brings us crashing directly into the great monolithic wall of the famous Fermi Paradox. If the universe is practically overflowing with biological potential, where is absolutely everybody hiding in the vast dark? Why haven't our advanced radio telescopes picked up a single artificial transmission after decades of diligent planetary listening? Could it really be statistically possible that across billions of ancient worlds, absolutely nobody ever thought to say hello to the cosmos? But the real secret is that the standard comforting explanations for this terrifying phenomenon are mathematically and logically insufficient. The most popular comforting answer has always been that the sheer unimaginable distance between stars makes physical contact practically impossible. People constantly argue that traversing hundreds of light years requires impossible infinite energy and purely magical warp drive technology. However, this deeply comforting assumption completely falls apart into dust when you apply basic exponential mathematics to the cosmic timeline. Let us imagine a moderately advanced civilization that only possesses basic sublight travel capabilities like fusion-powered generational colony ships. If they launch autonomous self-replicating probes to nearby stars, set them to build exact replicas, and repeat the entire process indefinitely, that is essentially a relentless technological virus spreading outward through the dark galaxy at a mere fraction of light speed. Even at this agonizingly crawling pace, they could easily and systematically colonize the entire Milky Way galaxy in just a few million years. In the grand sweeping cosmic calendar spanning over 13 billion years, a few million years is merely a fleeting Tuesday afternoon. Any sufficiently motivated civilization should have logically arrived here millions of years before human beings even learned how to harness fire. Our dark night sky should be completely blazing with the massive, spectacular engineering projects of ancient alien empires expanding outward. We should clearly see giant Dyson spheres harvesting stellar energy, or hear the deafening chatter of bustling interstellar communication networks. Instead, when we point our most exquisitely sensitive scientific instruments at the heavens, we hear absolutely nothing but dead cold static. The profound silence of the universe is not just an absence of data, but a terrifyingly conclusive biological data point itself. What if the vast physical distance is not the actual barrier keeping these ancient civilizations permanently separated from our planet? Perhaps our fundamental understanding of how highly intelligent biological life behaves on a macroscopic scale is completely and utterly backward. Here is where it gets interesting, because the implications of this deafening silence point towards something deeply and inherently unsettling. The empty void is practically screaming at us that surviving our own technological infancy might be an exceptionally rare universal phenomenon. The inescapable math proves they should be out there, yet the empirical physical evidence proves they are completely and utterly absent. We have always imagined the cosmos as a bustling and vibrant neighborhood of enlightened interstellar civilizations. Pop culture feeds us comforting visions of galactic federations peacefully sharing advanced technology across the stars. We desperately want to believe that any society capable of traversing the void must be inherently peaceful. We project our most optimistic American ideals of diplomacy and mutual prosperity onto the absolute unknown. The romanticized universe promises us that overcoming the struggles of technological infancy guarantees a utopian interstellar existence. However, the actual mechanics of a constantly expanding universe operate on a much more unforgiving biological imperative. When you finally strip away the Hollywood fantasies, you are absolutely left with the cold and brutal mathematics of survival. So why is the cosmic radio dial seemingly completely devoid of any decipherable greetings from these ancient neighbors? An easy assumption is that some apex predator roams the galaxy actively hunting down any emerging technological species. We naturally picture a bloodthirsty alien empire acting like a cosmic exterminator crushing weaker planets for pure sport. It feels comforting to imagine an external villain because it gives us a clear and easily understandable enemy. If a singular evil force is silencing the galaxy, then maybe a grand alliance could eventually defeat it. This simple explanation perfectly fits our classic narrative of heroic underdogs somehow overcoming a massive and tyrannical interstellar empire. Now listen carefully, because the actual truth hiding in the silence is infinitely more disturbing than any monster. The cosmic silence is not the result of a single evil empire hunting down innocent and helpless civilizations. The universe is completely silent because every single surviving civilization has independently come to the exact same terrifying conclusion. They have all realized that the greatest threat in the universe is simply the existence of another civilization. These silent watchers are not mindless beasts or malicious conquerors seeking to extract joy from our planetary destruction. The hunters in the dark forest are actually perfectly rational entities utilizing the exact same logic we do. They are advanced societies driven by the primal and unshakable American corporate instinct to absolutely mitigate all existential risks. Imagine a highly sophisticated civilization composed of brilliant scientists and philosophers who value their own survival above everything. They do not want to destroy other planets out of hatred or a fundamental desire for cosmic dominance. They obliterate emerging worlds purely as a preemptive defensive measure born from an inescapable and agonizing mutual paranoia. How can any alien species ever truly know if a newly discovered civilization is fundamentally benevolent or hostile? Even if both civilizations genuinely desire peace, they are separated by incredibly vast gulfs of space and time. The finite speed of light means that any diplomatic communication takes hundreds or thousands of years to arrive. You cannot ever be certain that the peaceful society you detected has not evolved into a hostile threat. Furthermore, you can never know if the other civilization believes that your intentions are genuinely peaceful or entirely deceptive. This creates an unbreakable chain of suspicion where no one can ever confidently trust the motives of another. What is the only logical choice when facing an unknown entity capable of exponential technological growth and destruction? If you choose to initiate a peaceful conversation, you are instantly revealing your exact location to a potential threat. In a universe containing absolutely finite resources, the survival of your own species must be the supreme priority. Allowing another civilization to freely expand and potentially surpass your own technological capabilities is a mathematically unacceptable risk. The safest and most rational move in this interstellar game of chess is to immediately eliminate the unknown variable. You do not strike out of malice, but rather because probability dictates that someone will eventually strike you first. This brings us to the ultimate chilling reality of our current position in the vast and silent galactic arena. The universe is not a friendly cooperative network, but a dark forest filled with heavily armed and terrified hunters. Every sophisticated intelligence is silently creeping through the cosmic trees, trying desperately to avoid snapping a metaphorical twig. Anyone foolish enough to light a fire and shout their existence into the void will instantly become a target. Are we truly prepared for the consequences of continuously broadcasting our exact coordinates into this unforgiving cosmic wilderness? The silence of the stars is not empty space, but rather the sound of everyone holding their collective breath. The predators are already out there, and they are simply waiting for an inexperienced prey to reveal its location. True cosmic wisdom might not be reaching out to the stars, but rather learning how to perfectly hide ourselves. Let's break down the exact mathematics of this cosmic survival game through the lens of pure logic. Imagine you are a civilization that has just detected a faint signal from a distant star system. You are immediately faced with a binary choice between remaining completely silent or initiating a preemptive strike. You cannot simply call them up and ask about their intentions. The unimaginably vast distances of deep space create an unbreakable chain of cosmic suspicion. If it takes hundreds of years for a single message to arrive, any meaningful diplomacy is rendered physically impossible. Even if you consider yourself a benevolent species, you can never truly know if the others share those same peaceful values. But wait, there is even more. Suppose you somehow deduce that this newly discovered alien race is currently peaceful and technologically inferior. You might be tempted to leave them alone, thinking they pose absolutely no immediate threat to your survival. Now listen carefully. In the grand timeline of the universe, a civilization can experience a sudden technological explosion in the blink of an eye. A species that is currently banging rocks together could develop world-destroying weapons in just a few thousand years. This is practically overnight on a galactic scale. If you willingly allow them to grow, you are essentially gambling the entire future of your fragile species on a remarkably naive hope. The only statistically safe option in this game of cosmic roulette is to eliminate the potential threat before they can strike. Here is where it gets incredibly real for Dr. Sarah Jenkins as she sits in her immaculate Silicon Valley boardroom. She stares blankly at the final risk assessment report for the Beacon of Humanity project, nervously clutching a lukewarm cup of expensive coffee. Her elite team of analysts ran the dark forest variables through their advanced predictive models to calculate the precise outcomes. The venture capitalists in New York are eagerly waiting for the launch, anticipating a massive surge in their aggressive stock portfolios. Sarah wanted to be the visionary pioneer who finally united humanity under a single banner of cosmic exploration and endless scientific optimism. She envisioned her face on the cover of Forbes magazine, celebrated as the woman who finally reached out to the stars. But the real secret is hidden deep within the cold, unforgiving numbers of that risk assessment report sitting on her mahogany desk. The simulation did not return a manageable margin of error or a typical corporate risk factor. It revealed a 100% probability of eventual planetary annihilation if the high-powered laser beam is successfully fired. Broadcasting our exact coordinates is not a triumphant declaration of our technological prowess, but rather turning on a massive flashlight in a dark forest. Can any responsible CEO ever justify taking a catastrophic risk that fundamentally guarantees the absolute extinction of every living, breathing creature on Earth? Is this ultimate corporate milestone truly worth sacrificing the entire human race just to satisfy our own narcissistic curiosity? Sarah is now trapped in a terrifying internal debate between her lifelong professional ambition and the brutal realities of game theory. Pressing the launch button will secure her legacy as a historic innovator and instantly satisfy the relentless demands of her investors. Yet, the mathematical models scream that doing so will inevitably draw the attention of a silent predator who shoots first. She must decide whether to be the hero of the current fiscal quarter or the quiet savior who deliberately sabotages her own creation. If she pulls the plug now, she faces immediate corporate ruin, endless lawsuits, and public humiliation across every major media outlet. Would you destroy your own lucrative empire if it meant preventing the most catastrophic event in the history of the universe? Boston winter is brutally unforgiving, but the air inside the MIT astrophysics basement is suffocatingly stale. 22-year-old Marcus sits bathed in the pale glow of multiple monitors at exactly 3 in the morning. He is a brilliant but entirely exhausted graduate student running on cheap espresso and desperate academic ambition. While his peers are sleeping comfortably, he is monitoring automated data streams. These massive streams of information flow in from deep space radio telescope arrays scattered across the globe. Marcus is relentlessly hunting for the ultimate scientific prize that will permanently secure his highly competitive doctoral thesis. He desperately wants to guarantee a lucrative career in the highest echelons of Ivy League astronomy. He searches for any definitive artificial anomaly hidden deep within the endless chaotic ocean of cosmic background static. For decades, humanity has been scanning these exact frequencies, hoping to catch a stray whisper from an advanced neighbor. What if he is the one destined to answer the greatest philosophical question of our modern time? He vividly imagines the crowded press conferences, the prestigious awards, and his name permanently etched into human history. Suddenly, the rhythmic, comforting hum of the cooling servers is violently interrupted by a piercing alert from his primary terminal. A highly localized spike in the narrowband radio frequency spectrum completely demands his immediate and undivided attention. This is definitely not the random chaotic noise of a dying pulsar or the background radiation of a distant quasar. The massive data cascading rapidly down his screen possesses a terrifyingly perfect mathematical structure that nature simply cannot produce. It is a complex sequence of prime numbers repeating in a deliberate loop, specifically designed to bypass natural physical explanations. His heart begins to violently pound against his ribs as he frantically initiates the top-secret decryption protocol software. He types command lines to isolate the spatial coordinates, realizing the transmission is originating relatively close. It is beaming directly from a neighboring star system previously considered devoid of any habitable planets. He is standing on the absolute verge of confirming that we are definitely not alone in this vast emptiness. Should he wake up his advising professor immediately or selfishly claim this monumental discovery entirely for himself? Driven by the relentless individualistic pursuit of American academic glory, Marcus makes a terrifyingly arrogant and hasty decision. He quickly drafts a standard automated handshake response containing our basic mathematical language, biological makeup, and exact planetary coordinates. He fully intends to bounce this return signal directly back to the source using a high-powered university transmitter network. He is literally one single keystroke away from officially introducing the fragile human race to a highly sophisticated alien intelligence. What happened next will completely shatter your understanding of our supposed glorious place in the wider universe. The heavy decryption algorithm finally finishes compiling the massive core message embedded deep within the prime number sequence. Marcus leans intensely closer to the glowing screen, fully expecting to read a profound greeting or a technological blueprint. He foolishly anticipates a welcoming invitation into a grand galactic federation of enlightened beings who value peaceful exploration. The advanced software slowly translates the mathematical syntax into crude English semantics based on our broadcasted dictionaries. The blinking digital cursor finally reveals a brief message that instantly drains the warm blood from his trembling face. It is not a friendly introduction, nor is it a philosophical treatise about the beautiful nature of existence. The translated text reads an urgent command to stop transmitting immediately and never let anyone notice our presence. A heavy, suffocating silence violently crashes down onto the cramped basement laboratory as the horrific implication fully sets in. The terrifying reality of the dark forest theory suddenly and brutally crystallizes within his brilliant young scientific mind. This unknown extraterrestrial civilization is not reaching out to hold our hand in a grand gesture of universal friendship. They are desperately whispering from the dark cosmic shadows, urgently warning a noisy neighbor to stop shouting immediately. They know perfectly well that the merciless apex predators of the galaxy are always actively listening for new prey. Marcus stares blankly at his finger, hovering less than an inch above the enter key that would launch his reply. He slowly pulls his shaking hand away from the keyboard, suddenly feeling the crushing weight of billions of invisible eyes. He almost sacrificed the entire human species for the petty sake of a published academic paper. The universe is profoundly silent because everyone else who survived the Great Hunt already knows exactly how to hide. Let us imagine that the chilling silence of the stars is not caused by malicious hunters prowling the dark. Another explanation is that an impenetrable barrier exists on the timeline of every advanced civilization across the universe. This theoretical evolutionary wall is famously known among astrophysicists and prominent philosophers as the Great Filter. It acts as a ruthless cosmic mechanism that systematically eradicates highly intelligent species before they establish a multi-planetary empire. Now listen carefully, because the most terrifying aspect of this filter is its precise looming location within our timeline. Are we absolutely certain that this apocalyptic filter is safely buried in our past, or is it patiently waiting in our future? Look closely at human history, and you will see that our rapidly accelerating technological prowess consistently outpaces our psychological maturity. We have meticulously stockpiled enough advanced nuclear weapons to completely incinerate our fragile biosphere over localized tribal political disputes. Furthermore, we are aggressively developing autonomous artificial intelligence systems without fully comprehending the catastrophic existential risks they pose to survival. It could be that our profound scientific knowledge fatally exceeds our innate wisdom, making us inherently prone to swift self-destruction. But wait, there is significantly more to this existential dread than just rogue algorithms and terrifying global radioactive fallout. Our absolute deepest vulnerability might actually be our profoundly arrogant naivety regarding interstellar macro communication in an overwhelmingly indifferent universe. We desperately construct massive satellite arrays and incredibly powerful transmitters, eager to shout our exact cosmic coordinates into the unknown. We stubbornly assume that any techno-superior alien civilization must naturally possess a benevolent morality, mirroring our optimistic science fiction. What if this deeply hardwired biological desire to loudly socialize is precisely the specific filter that universally executes arrogant civilizations? We are paradoxically smart enough to engineer complex planetary broadcasting equipment, yet utterly stupid enough to ignore the fundamental survival laws. Consider how an exceptionally noisy creature completely blind to its dangerous surroundings rarely survives its first night in a dark forest. Our relentless broadcast of organized radio waves and optical laser beams might simply be the tragic equivalent of a screaming infant. The ultimate great filter might not be some dramatic planetary explosion or a highly sophisticated robotic uprising that wipes us out. It might just be the quiet consequence of an overly confident technological species opening the wrong interstellar door before locking it. Every time we successfully split the atom or launch a space probe, we are unknowingly rolling the cosmic dice against execution. We constantly celebrate these monumental scientific milestones as undeniable proof of our boundless human exceptionalism and our guaranteed glorious interstellar future. Here is where it gets interesting, because those exact same technological breakthroughs could simply be the standard mechanisms that ensure extinction. Perhaps billions of other tragically optimistic species have proudly stood exactly where we are standing today. Looking up with innocent wonder, they gleefully pushed the technological broadcast button, completely unaware that the cold universe fundamentally punishes biological naivety with absolute unforgiving silence. Let's imagine the atmosphere inside that glass-walled control room in the Mojave Desert as the countdown clock mercilessly ticks down. Sarah Jenkins stands perfectly still, holding her breath, while the massive digital display rapidly drops below the final 10-second mark for the controversial beacon of humanity. The blindingly bright California sun has long set, leaving only the harsh fluorescent lights reflecting off the towering, humming server banks. She can practically feel the immense pressure of her demanding billionaire investors breathing down her neck through the live video feed. This is the precise moment she has spent her entire professional life chasing through endless sterile boardrooms and brutally competitive pitching sessions. Pushing that glowing green button will instantly secure her permanent legacy as a daring titan of modern American innovation and space exploration. But the absolutely terrifying logic of the dark forest theory has already taken deep root inside her brilliant and highly analytical mind. What if this ultimate triumph of human engineering is actually just a spectacularly elaborate and irreversible suicide note broadcast to the watching stars? She stares intently at the blinking console and suddenly visualizes the ancient, invisible hunters silently traversing the cold vastness of the galaxy. They are certainly not waiting to peacefully exchange groundbreaking scientific discoveries or beautiful cultural achievements with a newly discovered and completely naive alien civilization. They are simply waiting in the shadows for a foolish prey to finally snap a fragile twig in the oppressive silence of the cosmic woods. Here is where it gets interesting, because true visionary leadership often requires making impossible choices that the rest of the world simply cannot comprehend. At exactly 3 seconds before the scheduled laser ignition, Sarah reaches out her trembling right hand and firmly presses the manual abort sequence. The massive control room instantly erupts into a chaotic symphony of blaring red alarms and furious voices screaming through the intercoms. Her aggressive venture capital backers are demanding immediate answers while her chief engineers are frantically trying to bypass her executive override. She knows with absolute certainty that this single action will trigger massive lawsuits, public humiliation, and the total bankruptcy of her company. The relentless American media machine will undoubtedly crucify her as the chaotic CEO who completely lost her mind at the finish line. But wait, there is more to this moment than just the spectacular collapse of a promising Silicon Valley tech unicorn. As the facility security personnel slowly escort her out into the freezing desert night, she feels an overwhelming sense of profound peace. She looks up away from the flashing red lights of the compound and stares directly into the endlessly deep canopy of stars. She realizes that she did not just throw away $1 billion company, but rather she silently shielded billions of innocent lives. By choosing to keep humanity hidden in the shadows, she has successfully bought our fragile species a little more precious time. So where does this terrifying revelation leave us as we continue to stare up at the beautiful and terrifying night sky? We must fundamentally reconsider everything we thought we knew about our solitary place within this incredibly vast and ancient cosmic architecture. The Fermi Paradox is not merely a depressing mathematical puzzle designed to make us feel utterly insignificant in the grand scheme. It is actually a profound warning echoing across the eons, reminding us that survival requires immense caution and deep cosmic wisdom. We are currently just a loud and incredibly naive toddler, happily wandering through a dark jungle filled with ruthless apex predators. Could it be that our greatest strength as a species is not our technological prowess, but our ability to finally learn silence? The next time you walk outside on a perfectly clear night, take a moment to truly observe the absolute stillness above you. That magnificent starry silence is not a sign of a barren universe, but rather the ultimate proof of a highly populated one. It is the collective held breath of countless ancient civilizations who have all learned the most vital rule of the galactic survival game. The universe is incredibly vast, exceptionally beautiful, and absolutely teeming with invisible eyes that are constantly watching the dark.